Okay, a bit of an update. Did a little bit of work on the car this weekend, but I didn't film anything. So I thought I'd do an update video. So we went and worked on the car. We looked at the heater piping, took off the inlet manifold from the motor because it was a gas one. So that meant there was no fuel rail or gas lines or injector holes. So we took that off. We also took off the air conditioning compressor because I'm going to run the compressor from the E-series motor rather than the Barra motor. So that way the pressure lines all just bolt up, and mounting the compressor I think is going to work out easier. We worked out that the bolt hole for the back of the compressor lines the compressor up perfectly, and we just need to make mounts for the front of the compressor. So I'll show that in another video. But what I've got here are the heater pipes that run around the motor. So on a Barra, the heater outlets are on the driver's side, the right side of the car, and they changed the routing of the piping a little bit compared to the single cam motor. So in the single cam motor, the piping is a bit sort of further out from the block on the exhaust side, which is the right side or driver's side, and it's not as tucked in tightly. So what that means is I can't run the Barra stock exhaust manifold with an E-series pipe on the right side of the motor. So I have to run the Barra one, plus also the water pump where the pipe attaches to is a different fitting. So I could run an AU water pump or E-series water pump and it would probably work, but yeah, I would still need to do something with the exhaust manifold. So that is this pipe here. So that runs that goes in the back of the water pump, and probably is in that orientation like that. So that bracket bolts onto the block, and these pipes are here. Now this little tiny pipe, normally there's a air bleed hose that goes from one side of the heater core to the other, but because the heater core is not on the right side of the motor, it's on the left side in the E-series. What we've done is we've crimped that one off and welded it shut. And then I have over here, this is part of the pipe that runs around the back of the motor. So normally this goes around the back of the motor here, and then that goes around, and I think it keeps going. It sort of joins on like this pipe. It's all one piece. Okay, so it's kind of like that. But what I did was cut that bend off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run just a piece of rubber hose that's got a 90-degree bend on it, and that'll come around and hook up to this pipe, and that pipe goes around the block. So the block's here, this can be the block. It's a pretty block. So that goes down that side of the motor. Going to have a piece of rubber here, welded a flare sort of barb onto this pipe, if it'll focus. Don't know if we can see that, but you can see it's welded on there, so when we clamp a hose on there it doesn't want to fly off under pressure. So that's the back. Then that comes around to this factory pipe that bolts onto the back of the inlet manifold. Then that goes down to fit onto the factory heater hose, which goes into the firewall, then comes out of the firewall and connects up to this hose. Now this one, the shiny part here, is from a Barra motor. It's completely unmodified, except that now it has this extra pipe on it, which is off the E-series front pipe here. So the E-series pipe here doesn't mount here, it mounts up here somewhere, and the shape of it is different. So didn't want to mess with it, just kept the same Barra pipe. We welded this here so that we had this little tiny hose here, plus gave it a little bit of extension because it's shorter. Because on the Barra, what's normally here is a thermostat valve that controls the flow to the transmission cooler, which I'm not going to run. I'm going to run the transmission cooler that's in the radiator like an E-series or AU, because they don't die and put coolant in your transmission, which is the death of a lot of B-series Falcons and territories. So this is what I'm going to do. So that will fit into that hose there, and the other heater hose will come through with the tap in it that goes to the firewall up this way. So it'll all kind of fit. So the only thing different to an E-series is that there's a piece of rubber here instead of it all being hard line. Now you might think, well, rubber over on the exhaust side is probably not going to last long, but B-series / Barra motors have rubber over that side anyway, and I haven't changed that part of it there, so it's only a little bit of rubber around there anyway. It's not a lot. And I think the E-series heater hose that goes to the core, so off this pipe, it's got like two 90-degree bends in it, so it goes like that. I think if I cut one of them up, it'll fit this pretty easy. So that's the update I have, all to do with heater pipes and a little bit to do with air conditioning compressors, but I don't have anything to show you with that. Heater pipes.